Hello everyone, welcome again to our YouTube channel. My name is Daniel from the Okemwa Empire, and in our video today I want us to talk about what would you do if your host lives in one of the states in the United States which you don't like. So guys, this is a very tricky topic to discuss today, or issue, because we understand for you as a DV winner, you need a host in the United States. When you will be filling your DS260 form, you must provide your host's information, that is your host's name, the state he lives in, and the mail address, the address where your host lives in. And finally, at the end of the day, you also need your host's affidavit of support from I-134 when you will be going for your visa interview in some of the embassies in the world. So guys, what would you do in this kind of situation where you find that your host is living in a state which you as a person or as a family you don't like, and you are required to provide your host information? So it will depend on two things. In this case, you will proceed with your host who is living in the state which you don't like. If this person is willing to host you, provide his personal information to you, and at the end of the day gives you his or her Form I-134 affidavit of support, then when you have been cleared, you have gotten your visas, you may decide now you still go to this host living the state which you don't like, and after landing there, after acquiring all the necessary documentation, after you have gotten your social security number, after you have gotten maybe your green card, and you have processed so many other things, you have gotten your DL, you have even started working, and if you still feel that you don't like this state, that's the time now you make a major decision whether to move or to stay. You may be thinking that the state where your host is living is not good to you, but after landing, after doing one or two things in this state, you may find yourself and your family liking the state and like the information you had prior to this state. But if still you feel that this is not your state, you are at liberty, after acquiring all those things that I've discussed about, you can easily move out to either to the northern part of America, southern part of America, eastern part of America, or to western part of America, or the central part of America, depending on what you want. Scenario number 2 is where, after filling your DS260 form and submitted that form to KCC, you are waiting for your 2NL, you can start looking for another host. If you have a friend or a family member or a relative or whoever who lives in another state different from the one which you don't like, you will start friendship. Introduce yourself to that person, share, exchange information about your DV win, and tell that person to tell you more about the state where he or she lives in. Get the pros and the cons of this state. Ask about education system, ask about transport system, ask about health system also, and so many other concerns that you may be having concerning the state, previous state which you didn't like. And once you get this information about this other state, compare and contrast to what information you had about the previous state. And if you still find that your previous state where your first host lives, you still don't like it, you can now start developing interest in this new state. Share still with your new host whom you are trying to request information about the state where she or he lives. Tell that person about your intention of moving to that state. If your first host who gave you the information and address and whatever to fill the S260 lives, for example, in Texas, and you don't like Texas, and this other host that you are trying to look for lives in another state, let's say Washington, then in this case, you try also to tell that person that you have the intention of moving to Washington. Request that person if she will be willing to host you once you get your visa. And once this person accepts, you can either, after receiving your visa and you have booked your whatever air ticket, then move to this person, the second host that you looked at, you talked to, and then you get settled in that. But the tricky thing is that you may find this second host that you have been looking for after your DS260 form had been submitted, changing his or her mind later on. Let's say after getting the visa, he has been promising you that you come, I would accommodate you. But people change their mind, more especially the host change their minds. So what will you do? You have already told the first host that I'm not coming to your home, I'm going to Washington, I'm not coming to Texas. This first host has switched off because she or he was willing to host you at the first place, but along the way you have changed your mind, you are going to Washington. So this one may have closed his doors or windows for you. Then this second host, because he promised you heaven and now is giving you hell, he has switched off the phone. You cannot trace him or her. What will you do in this case? So that's why I'm saying that it's a tricky thing that you need to juggle with a lot of wisdom before you make such a kind of decision. But to me, the best thing that you need to do is, if you are not sure about this second host, you first proceed to your first host. If this person was willing to host you in whichever state he or she lives in, after landing there, you can talk to this person that you had an intention of moving to Washington, not Texas. You can stay with that host for a few days as you make arrangements with the second host while you are in the United States. Ask that person to send you either air ticket within the United States or bus tickets to your first host, such that the moment you have gotten now your air tickets within the United States or bus. So after getting these air tickets or bus tickets, then now you may decide to move to the second host's place, and this one now will have been an assurance to you that this person is not going to change his mind. So guys, it's so tricky, it's so confusing, more especially when you are new and you want to move to another state. But currently, as I always tell you, not everyone who lives in the state where he or she started with. You can come, start live in whichever state that you first land in. After getting used with life here in the United States, you can now make a decision whether to stay or to shift from one state to another. You are at liberty to do whatever you want once you are in the United States. People are moved from state to state even after buying houses. You can buy a house in one of the states and you get a problem with your neighbor. What will happen? in this case, you will not stay there. You will have to shift to another state and start life afresh. So you should not be worried. I know that it is difficult to change a state to another, but it is possible once you make your mind and you know what you want to achieve in life. So you should not be worried about it. You just get your visa, get your second host, keep that person in touch, and also both the first host in touch. In case of anything, you need these two people before you make the major decision you want to make in life. Thank you guys for watching. And those ones who are new in this platform, please, we ask you that you consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. And the returning subscribers, we say thank you for the good work you are doing. Welcome home. We are still moving on. We are doing good. We have a lot here to share with you. Go back to our videos. You will be able to learn more. Thank you, and may God bless you all.